Assassin's Creed 3 is the 5th game in the Assassin's Creed series, even though it has a series known for its amazing characters, fun combat, and historic settings. Does Assassin's Creed 3 compare to the rest of the series? Well, let's take a look. Alright, so the setting for this one is the Revolutionary War in North America. You follow Connor Kenway as he discovers what being in the Assassin Brotherhood is all about and seeks revenge. It's up to Connor to take down the Templar Order sect set up in North America. The story presented in this one is definitely fun, although not the best in the series, it still does a good job. Also, there are a couple of twists thrown in the mix, and one of them is amazing. Now, let's talk about Connor for a moment. Connor is the worst character in the entire franchise. He is nothing like Ezio. No, I'm just kidding. All jokes aside, Connor is definitely different from Ezio, which is good. I mean, you can't just have the same character over and over again. And an original character is definitely better than an Ezio clone. Oh no. Sorry. If you want to like Connor, accept him for who he is and understand where he's coming from, and don't compare him to Ezio. Connor is a little bit of an acquired taste, but if you pay attention to the story, you'll understand and appreciate him. I'm not saying that he's the best character in the series, but he's still a pretty good one. He's serious and a stone-cold killer, willing to do anything short of breaking the creed to get his goals. Now, without spoiling anything, there is another playable character in the game, Haytham. Haytham is an absolutely amazing character, and an interesting one at that. The short time you spend with him is definitely time well spent. There is plenty of other characters in the game as well, such as Charles Lee, Lafayette, Samuel Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and the man himself, General George Washington. Except for a few annoying characters, all of the characters are great, well written, and well voiced. There are definitely some big changes in this game from the others. First off, the combat has changed. You still have countering and stealth kills, but the combat feels different. There are parts where it slows down and provides brutal kills. The slowing down is pretty cool, but can sometimes get annoying. The style in which Connor fights is different from what we've seen before, but this is best left for you to discover. An Assassin's Creed game wouldn't be the same without weapons, and there are plenty of new weapons to explore. This is the first Assassin's Creed game with firearms, well, besides the wrist pistol in the Ezio games. There are various flintlock pistols as well as rifles. They take a solid 3 seconds to reload, so they're not the quickest, but they're deadly. Other new weapons include rope darts, which allow you to hang enemies, drag them off rooftops, and pull them closer. A bow has been added as well, which allows for more silent and faster range kills. Connor's main melee weapon is a tomahawk, which deals a lot of damage and probably one of the most brutal weapons in the game. Also included in the game are familiar weapons like swords, spears, and of course the 2 iconic hidden blades. With these weapons in hand, it's time to kill some noobs. There are a small variety of enemies, including snipers, standard redcoats, grenadiers, who wield axes as well as grenades, commander-style soldiers who carry swords and pistols, and a fast-acting knife man. The AI is fairly standard, but fun to chop down. Something new that's been added to their code is the ability to line up and shoot at you. This also introduces a new mechanic which allows you to block their bullets using a human shield. I personally thought it was a great idea, and it's great to see that this is used in later Assassin's Creed games as well. Besides that, there's nothing much new with the enemy AI. Oh, and they still can't swim. Yeah. Other new mechanics have been added, such as lockpicking. Honestly, lockpicking isn't that great, but luckily it only comes up about twice in the main campaign. They should have taken a page out of Skyrim's lockpicking mechanics. A big mechanic that was never seen before in an AC game until now is naval combat. The naval combat was perfected in Black Flag, but here it needed a little work. It's decent and fairly enjoyable, but there's definitely room for improvement. There are a couple of missions in the campaign that utilize this, but it's not really used that often. You can fire cannons at enemy ships as you sail along the east coast to get supplies, which can be used to upgrade the ship. The cannons, though, aren't quite as movable as they are in the later games. Since there's a good portion of frontier in the map, there aren't very many rooftops to run across. In fact, the rooftops in the cities are actually pretty well guarded, as if the game designers don't want you to parkour around. A new tree parkour, or tree core, mechanic has been added. It's pretty great and entertaining and gives us that much needed parkour. Also, in terms of climbing, rock climbing has been added to the game for even more climbing action. This game is jam-packed with new things, like petting animals. You can also pet wild animals really hard, with blades. Hunting has been thrown into the mix to provide you extra things to do. There's rabbits, wolves, which are hostile and extremely annoying, foxes, bears, deer, and more, all waiting for you to kill them. I personally didn't indulge in the hunting. I'm not a hunting person in real life and in video games, but it definitely adds more entertainment. Once you kill an animal, either by setting a trap or killing them with your weapons, you can craft new items with their pelts or sell them for money. Overall, it's a well-made new mechanic and great addition to the game. If you've ever played one of these games, then you're familiar with the notoriety system. If you're a newcomer, the notoriety system is just a wanted system. Higher notoriety means that the guards are more aware of you. It stayed the same throughout the Ezio trilogy, so the creators decided to change it up a little bit. Once you have just one level of notoriety, when you pass a soldier, they'll go after you if you stick around for too long. It doesn't take too much for this to happen. They've made it more likely that you'll be attacked by guards even if you only have one level of it. This can be annoying if you want to complete a mission or simply just need to go. So, how do you get rid of this notoriety? Well, you can tear down wanted posters to remove one level of notoriety, bribe a town crier which removes 2 levels of notoriety, or bribe a printing press which takes away all 3 levels of notoriety. The new ways of removing notoriety are definitely spice things up, but the new system can get very old very fast. Other mechanics include fast traveling without taking a boat, and tunnels that also allow you to travel fast, but this time you can actually walk through the tunnels instead of just sit through a loading screen. These 2 mechanics are handy when you're in a hurry to get to your next mission. Since we've discussed new things that have been added, let's talk about things that have been removed. Armor is no longer in the game, which does make sense considering people didn't usually wear armor in the Revolutionary War. Medicine has also been taken out of the game, so you have to heal naturally. Nothing else has been taken away, but it does take some getting used to if you've played the other games first. Now that we've talked about mechanics, let's briefly discuss the map and other things I've left out. The map is fairly large, but generally looks the same. New York and Boston don't really look all that different from their building styles to their layouts. The frontier mostly looks the same as well. There's nothing super interesting about the cities, except for the stray collectibles that are just filler. Your base of operations, the homestead, is another story though. There, you'll find more naval missions, you can help and rescue citizens that will work for you in the homestead, you can also build new buildings and even do side missions. Besides the main campaign, the homestead missions are some of the best missions in the game. They can be humorous and lighthearted, unlike the rest of the game. If you're familiar with the Assassin's Creed series, then you probably know that there is a modern story that connects the past to the present. Here, we see Desmond Miles and his group once again trying to stop the apocalypse. Say what you will about some of the previous modern day stories, but this one is actually pretty darn good. There are some fun moments and the story is actually great. The end though. Pretty much one of the biggest middle fingers Ubisoft has ever given us in Assassin's Creed, so just be warned. One last thing to discuss is the music. Sadly, Jesper Kyd wasn't part of this one, but the music is still well done. It makes dramatic and powerful scenes stronger and lighthearted scenes even more peaceful. In the end, Assassin's Creed 3 may not be the best Assassin's Creed game, but it's definitely a fun sequel. I definitely recommend checking out the rest of the series first, especially the Ezio trilogy, but this one is definitely not one you want to skip out on. My final rating for this game is a 4 out of 6, which is a recommended on my scale. Thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you guys in the next one.